You've heard it all before in the manifestation community. Do nothing and you'll get everything. There's nothing to do. It's already here. It's already done. Is this true? And especially if you feel and you resonate that it is true within you, but yet it seems like nothing's happening and you're wondering why. How is it that everyone else is getting their manifestations, but yours is taking so long? And then you think you're doing something wrong. Well, stick with me in this video today because, as you know, I'm demystifying many of the manifestation myths, but there are some things that are spot on. And I'm going to walk you through today of how you truly can do nothing and get everything. Is it true? Absolutely. How do I know? I have the experience of it. And I'm also going to show you how to unify your two minds within yourself, right? We have one mind, but we've broken it into conscious and subconscious. And then we've created them so that we can understand how they speak to us in real time in the now moment, but then we have them fighting each other. And it makes absolutely no sense. Stop dividing yourself within yourself. It's like creating a chakra system and then saying your chakras are blocked. Why would you create something and then bring it into your reality and then make it work against you? It makes no sense. Stop doing that. So buckle up, my manifesting friends. We are in for another amazing manifestation ride. My name is Dede and I am the Invincible CEO, and I am the most exciting last manifestation coach you'll never need. However, here we are, and I am just a big kid at heart, and this manifestation thing is simple, easy, fun, quick when you're not a house divided within yourself. So if this is something that you really once and for all want to lay to rest, this is the video for you. I highly recommend staying to the end because not only am I going to give you 3 points on how doing nothing gets you everything, I'm going to give you a personal experience that I have for myself from time to time that actually proves this. Not that you can ever prove anything because I'm just saying a bunch of words and making noise, but through my experience, and I'm sharing that with you, I invite you to either do what I've done or pick something that you can substitute that really resonates with you. So the most important thing here in our videos is the promise that you're going to make to yourself. Don't just listen and watch this video and let it be another manifestation video. Make a promise to yourself that you're going to put into action something that you learned here today. And I'm going to clarify this, make this nice and simple for you. By the time you're done watching this video, you're going to be saying, oh my God, that's it. That's really it. Because yeah, it's not hard. It's not complicated, and we got to stop doing that. And once we calm the conscious mind down, once we give it a job in what it is that we're doing, because we go into these imaginal acts, we go into the subconscious mind, and then we're thrown back into a reality where everything seems exactly the same. Everything has shifted, but it looks exactly the same. And here's a great example of that. If you think about if you bought a lottery ticket last night and you won the jackpot, and you go and you check your ticket, the room looks exactly the same, but everything changed. Yet at this time, you don't have the money in your pocket. It's the implication. So we're really going to get you into the implication of what you're doing and not doing. And aren't you kind of intrigued to figure out how doing nothing gets you everything? So if you haven't got a pen and paper or notebook to take some notes, now's the time to do so, because we are going to deep dive in here. All right, that was an introduction, wasn't it? Okay, so how doing nothing gets you everything. And really, doing nothing is easy. You just don't do anything. You pick something and then you don't do anything and you allow it to show up. We do it all the time. We just don't even realize it. And I'm like the queen of analogies and the queen of pointing out that you're already doing what we're talking about. You just haven't connected the dots within your own mind. So if you were to book a vacation next month and you book your flight in your hotel, you've taken a little bit of action, but what really do you have to do between now and then? Now, as it gets a little closer, you might take actions to stop your mail and put your dog in a kennel and let everybody know and get a ride to the airport. That makes sense. But for the most part, during the month that you're waiting for the day to arrive, there's not a whole lot you're doing. And that's how manifestation works, because there's enough for you to do in between you booking your trip and going on it to keep you busy. And there's no doubt that when you got that confirmation back, that you've done everything that you need to do to reserve the hotel and the air flights and so forth. All right, so how doing nothing gets you everything? And as I started to go deeper and deeper into manifestation, now I'm going to give my background here because it's really important, because I'm going to talk about mind, body, and energy. I am a certified personal trainer and certified nutritionist. I am a trained investigator and interrogator, expert of the subconscious mind, and profiler long before there was YouTube. And I'm also a 9th degree Reiki Grandmaster. So when I tell you I got you covered mind, body, spirit, I do. And if you haven't checked out the Invincible CEO website, do so. There's a lot of great things going on. And I'm going to mention something right here, right now, because I'm going to take you through an amazing experience. And if you like what we're doing here on this video today, I highly recommend that you look into the one-day private event, online event that I'm offering on March 16th. It is 5 sessions, live with me, interactive like you would on Zoom, in a private community that I've created just for that event. It's called Create Your Own Reality, Embody Your Imagination. And what we're about to do here, just imagine if you could ask me questions in real time and I can give you those answers right away. That's the power of that group. There's only 50 spots available. And as of mentioning and creating this video right now, 7 spots have already been filled. So in addition to that, you get put into the community ahead of time, and I'm going to be nurturing you and sharing things leading up to the event. So the earlier you get in, the more nurturing you receive. All right, that's said and done. Okay, so doing something merges the two minds together. And we really have to talk about active and passive energy, because energy is always in motion. It's either active or it's passive. So even when you're passive, you're doing something, but to the active conscious mind, it doesn't understand being passive. So we have to bring the conscious mind on board and give it a job to do when we are deciding to go into this do nothing and get everything. Now, I will tell you from my own personal experience that you make a decision. So the subconscious mind, we have this one mind, and we've decided to split it in half in the world of duality. And the law of gender says there's 2 types of energy, male and female, active and passive. So we're going to say to you that the conscious mind is the active male yang energy, and that the subconscious mind is the passive female allowing energy. Now, I want you to think of the analogy of the sperm and egg, right? If we say that the egg, the female energy, is much larger than the sperm, right? Because you've seen those pictures where there are all the hundreds of thousands of sperm are trying to get, only one can get into the egg, and the egg is so much bigger, so much bigger. So when you realize that in order for something to be fertilized, what's going in has to be, what it's going into has to be so much bigger. So, for example, when I say to you now, look around the room that you're in and name everything, and you'll say walls and ceilings and all the furniture and the lights and the curtains. And I say, well, what else is there? And people will look a little deeper and start looking around and seeing things that they haven't named yet. And I keep saying, well, what else is there? And they get all confused. They're like, we've named everything, right? They've looked and they've named everything. But what they didn't look and name is the space that existed in order for that room or that house to be built. So if you have this space and you can build a house on top of it, let's say you bought a property and you build a house on top of this space, that's the fertilization. That's taking the space that was there, that was empty, and putting something into it. And then it's almost like Inception. And then we go into the house and then we put stuff into it, right? We decorate each room. But we could knock down that house and that space would still exist, because then we can build a new house. And that's what you have to understand with manifestation. You, the consciousness, are the space in which you build the house, you build the reality, and then you enter into it and you make it your own. It's a real simple analogy, folks, right? Let me repeat that. In order for something to exist, the space, the empty space must be there, and we put something into it to be known, because it cannot be known without the contrast of the space around it. You couldn't know it otherwise. That you are the space, you are the consciousness in which the thoughts echo within, and you are the operant power that makes a choice. So when I was deciding that doing nothing gets you everything, and I'm the operant power. And I was at the point in my manifestation journey, either I'm the operant power or I'm not. And if I'm the operant power, then why aren't my manifestations coming as fast as I want them? They were, some did, some didn't. And I was getting tired of this, just this wide variety of, okay, you hear it all the time. Manifest within 3 days, manifest within 3 days. And I'm doing all the techniques, and I was myself, and I created my own techniques. And it's like, why am I not manifesting within 3 days? Because I haven't given it to myself. You have to give it to yourself within yourself. And I'm going to explain this through this explanation here. It's really powerful. So get those notes down. Okay. So what I decided to do was I thought about, how do I do something for 3 days and I do nothing? It's the stopping of something, right? And right away, I thought of people who get addicted to substances, and they'll go 3 months to a rehab center, right? And they'll go through their process. They pull themselves out of their normal reality, and they go through this process of shedding the old version, letting the old version of them die off, and they awaken into this new version. But then when they come back into their new reality, they don't know how, because it looks exactly like the old reality, they forget that they've changed. And the new reality can, even though it looks like the old reality, it reminds them of the old reality. And that's why sometimes those old habits will come right back in. So you have to, when you're making this change of changing consciousness, changing states of being, we're changing states of being, and we're allowing the outside world to dictate what we remember. But now we're a new person, and they're no longer our memories. Okay, so what could I do? And then I thought about Neville Goddard teachings, and I speak about Neville Goddard, and there's so much out there already, and I do bring him in occasionally, but he uses the Bible as allegory, right? Just like we could use children's stories as allegory, like the Three Little Pigs or Little Red Riding Hood. They're all about shifting states of consciousness. Grandma, what big eyes you have. The better to see you with, my dear. It's reality being challenged and stating what it is. We'll get into the fairy tales and kid stories another time. So we look at the Bible as allegories of state of being, and we look at that, say, the Jesus story, where after he died, it was 3 days that he was put into the cave, and then he came out, a new version of him, right? So I thought, what could I do for 3 days? What could I do? What could I stop doing that would say to me that I'm a new person, that I'm the operant power, and allow me to see what echoes come in during that time, whether they be energetic, whether they be mental, or they be physical. And for quite a while back then, I was looking at water fasting, water only, just drinking only water, no food, no fruits, no veggies, no nothing, just water. And I thought to myself, okay, I could do that for 3 days, right? I'm a nutritionist. I'm a certified personal trainer. And I thought, okay, so I got excited about it, but I've anchored in with me, today's the day. And that's a technique. So I can just say today's the day, but if I don't know what that feels like, right? So I help you anchor these techniques. It's not just about doing the technique. It's about knowing how it signals within your body. So I had made the choice to do water fasting, but it wasn't the day. It was the conscious choice. The conscious mind says, we're going to do this. And since this time it was the conscious mind that went first, I had to wait for the subconscious mind to answer back. So then, within a couple of days, I woke up, I believe it was a Monday in February, and it was like, today's the day. We're going to do a 3-day water fast. And here's the thing. Here's the best thing with water only fasting. You do nothing other than drink water. Now, I drink water all the time. I always talk about 80 ounces to 128 ounces every day, 80 ounces for just normal body function. And this is part of the thing that I'm nurturing you in for the 1-day event. If you get into the group early, all about hydration, all about how to oxygenate your body. Do you have to? Absolutely not. However, when you start doing changes and you believe it's to benefit yourself, you're bringing the conscious mind into play along, magical things start to happen. Just saying. And if you haven't done it, and it's not a thing that you just do for an event. If you eat a certain way because you want to lose weight to fit in a dress, and then after that day is done and the dress fits, you'll go back to your old habits because your conscious mind played along because you said you wanted to fit in the dress. You didn't say, I want to be this way going forward. Do you see the difference there? Because you're always getting what it is that you're focused on. And if you're very transactional in what you do, when the transaction's done, the old habits and the old reality will come back in because it was just a temporary holding place. Isn't that mind-blowing? You're drinking all this in, but I love your feedback. So put some comments in the bottom. And if you haven't liked the video, now's the time. Give me a high five. To me, a like is a high five, and I'm always high-fiving you, cheering you on, because you know what? I forgot to mention earlier, part of why I do what I do is because I want to see you win. I want to see you win big, and I want to see you win all the time. And I'm the friend that you let me know. I want to celebrate you all the time, high-fiving you. So give me a high five is a like, and like a hug is a subscribe if you haven't done that yet, because you know this is the way. You want to surround yourself with the people that are where you want to be. And I will give you everything I got every single time, because I will say this, when you have something that you know other people want, and you were in that place where you wanted it yourself, and whether you got there on your own or you got there through the help of others, what I found is as I was transforming my physical body, people were cheering me on, but it was the people who were already where I wanted to be giving me that encouragement, where I noticed that the people who didn't want me to change or weren't ready to do their own change were trying to pull me back, right? So here I am. I'm always that high-fiving friend. I'm going to give you that big hug. So a like is a high five, a subscribe is a big hug, because it's going to get better and better here. Okay, so now I'm going through this process of, you know, I can do this. Now today's the day. So what I do ahead of time is I set myself up for victory. So from the moment that I knew I was going to water fast, I made the conscious choice, but I didn't get the signal of today's the day. I took the time to write the script of how it's going to go. So in those couple of days in between, I said, this is going to be easy. It's going to be fun, because why? I say manifestation is easy and fun, and that's all we're doing. So it has to be easy and fun for me. Right? Because you right now, if I say to you, do a 3-day water fast with me, what's the first thing that pops in your mind? Right? That's where you're meeting resistance. If you say, well, I can do it 1 day, but I can't do a 3, well, then start with the 1 day. Start with the 1 day, because I'll tell you, my 3-day turned into a 10-day, and I didn't know that because it was so much fun. I didn't want to stop. Mind blowing. So and that's what I do right now. My water fasting, every year I make it a different day. So when I'm going to point you back to an old video that I did, and I'm going to put it in the comments below, the description below, that at the time I did it on Thursdays and I called it Thirsty Thursday. But this year I'm doing it on Mondays. My 1 day is every Monday. And then once a month I do a 3-day. And then once a quarter I do a 7 to 10 day. Because I'm going to show you how it went from something that I wanted to do to something that I started habitually doing, and now it's just who I am. And I call that activating, aligning, and anchoring. And it's a process that we naturally go through, that it's no longer something that I have to figure out. It just like when I drive my car, it's just something who I am. And so it takes you from the explorer, the jump off character of, oh, let's try this thing, to now integrating it into who you are. And that's how we get the conscious mind going along. So going back to, I made this decision and I started to write the script of, it's going to be easy. It's going to be fun. I'm going to have so much energy. I'm going to be able to see what echoes come in. I'm going to be able to see what sensations come in, and then I'm going to rewrite them. And I'm going to share that with you in a moment, what that was. So I could have gone, oh my God, this is going to be torturous. I'm going to be so tired. I'm going to be so cranky, right? All the reasons why you might be saying why a 3-day water fast would not work for you. Now, I will say this, I am not a doctor, and I highly recommend, just for your own conscious mind to be brought on board, if you think water fasting is going to be detrimental to you, then I would suggest that you do something else. Do a 3-day fast from your phone. Do a 3-day fast from social media. Do a 3-day fast from TV, right? Or if they're coffee, like whatever it is that you can stop doing, the doing nothing, because what we're doing here is we're proving, not that you can ever really prove anything to yourself, to your conscious mind, but once you have the experience of it, it's your truth. It's only conceptual until you actually do it. And then for me, once I do something once, I can do it. I can do it as many times as I want. And it always, I have a foundational assumption that I've anchored in within me. And I have a free course. If you haven't signed up for it yet, it's also in the description below. And it teaches you how to create foundational assumptions and then to activate, align, and anchor into them. Because I always get what I want plus more. So of course I wanted to do a 3-day and it ended up a 10-day because I always get what I want plus more. And everything I do is enjoyable. If I'm going to bring something into my reality, it must add on to me. It can't take away from me. So I can't bring in water fasting and then beat myself up that I'm doing it wrong or it's too hard or any of that stuff, because then that's a house divided. And that's what we've been programmed to do, that you have to suffer in order to get great results. No, you don't. No, you don't. I know, mind blowing. All right, so back to the water fasting. I created the story. It's going to be easy. It's going to be fun. I'm going to love it. I'm going to be shared. I was able during that time to not only water fast, but when I think it was day 4 that I decided I was going to let me go run a mile. I felt like I was floating on air, because the magical thing, I'll give you a few of the physical things that started to happen. Did I have hunger? Absolutely. I had hunger come in. But if you've ever switched to a metabolic nutrition plan, you experience crazy hunger over there. This was nothing like that, but I expect it. And when the hunger came in, all I said in my echo chamber is, all I'm doing is feeling a sensation in my body. Just like when I get tingles, it's a sensation in my body. Just when I have to go to the bathroom, it's a sensation in my body. If I'm running and I get a stitch, it's a sensation in my body. It just means in that time, the subconscious mind, because it speaks in repetition, activation, and feels sensations within the body. And the subconscious mind is saying, here's the time that you should eat. This is where the programming says you should be eating. And I, as the conscious operant power, say, I hear you. However, that's not going to happen right now because we're water fasting, right? So I prepared myself for all the things that I thought that could be coming in. And then I noticed that if I stayed upstairs and worked from my upstairs office or bedroom, there was no hunger. But if I went down and sat on the couch and I'm near the kitchen, all of a sudden I got really hungry. And I thought, am I really hungry because I'm in the kitchen? But I remembered to myself that when I sit in this spot, I usually will snack or eat. Would I still be hungry if I sat in a place in the room that I don't normally sit, but I'm still close to the kitchen? So this is where you get to experiment. And I went and I sat somewhere else and the hunger stopped immediately. So it let me know that my mind thinks when I sit in that spot, that there's food coming in, whether I'm hungry or not. And because I hadn't moved to get food, because maybe normally I do within 5 minutes, it started to trigger what I would say is a hunger sensation. So this was so mind-blowing, all the realizations, and eventually I will offer a 1-day event for water fasting to get you primed if that's something you've wanted to do. And if you know anyone else, get them into the Invincible CEO Circle. There's also, I have a private group for everyone. And all you got to do is sign up and you get access. And it's different than the group that I'm going to have for the 1-day event. But we used to be on Facebook, and I'm now closing down the Facebook group and I'm moving it into a private group on my website for just more exclusivity. I noticed thoughts coming in. And a funny thing happens every time I water fast, whether it's a 1-day or a 3-day or 7-day. My longest water fast, by the way, if you're curious, has been 21 days. And it was a joy. It was an absolute joy. And I will create a whole other video like from day 1 to day 10, what goes on. But the craziest thing that happened, and it would happen initially around 5 days, but now it happens around 3, is that the mind that doesn't shut up shuts down and you go into pure existence. Because when digestion shuts down and all the other body functions that take a lot of energy shut down, the mind, the monkey mind, I don't know why, it just does. And I love it, because if I need to activate a thought, I have to be the operant power thinking, instead of the committee in my head going, what about this? The echoes, what about this? What about this? What about this? Don't need it. Another benefit. Okay. So now I'm saying that I'm paying attention to the thoughts that come in. I wasn't going to hide myself from food. I wasn't going to stay away from food. I wanted to be interacting normally. I wanted to show myself that by doing nothing, and water fasting only is just drinking water, something I would be doing anyway. I didn't have to add that on. And I would highly recommend, if you are going to water fast, that you first get your daily water intake to at least 80 ounces a day. Again, sign up for the 2-day event and we'll nurture you in that ahead of time. And not only that, but there is a fee for the event. But when you pay the fee, you get the group ahead of time, you get the 1-day event, you get all of the recordings in the group after. It's going to be ongoing. And that alone covers the small charge that I'm charging. But should you decide to work with me in a group, because I'm going to be offering group training, or one-on-one, I will automatically take your fee that you paid for the one-day event and credit you to whatever service that you're going to join on for. How amazing is that? Okay. So I decide that all of this is for me to have awareness, because now it was mind-blowing how much time focused around food now that I didn't have to think about, do I have the food? Do I have to prepare the food? But I was still preparing the food for other people in the house because I had family members. So I still cooked for them, still was around food, all of that fun stuff. And did I have the mind come in with a temptation? Oh, take a bite. Take a bite. What's a bite? You need a bite. And I thought to myself, you know what? I didn't realize I needed to put that in there ahead of time, but mind going forward, I know that when I'm done this, the food will be there waiting for me. It will be there waiting for me. And if I'm the operant power and I made this choice and my mind is supposed to support the choice that I've made, then you're not the team that I hired. You need to go away. You need to go away because I made a choice and I don't need to be offered temptations. I know what I've chosen. So powerful, because here's the thing. If I believe that I can manifest within 3 days by doing a technique, and my mind is not given that to me, it's because I haven't demonstrated to myself and to both of my minds that when I make a choice, I can make it happen within 3 days. So if as a personal trainer, I had a thing, and I do this with anything that I offer. If I haven't done it and I can't demonstrate it to you, like going into the gym and deadlifting, I'm not going to ask you to do it, because I don't want to conceptually understand what should be happening or visually see you do it. I want to know through my personal experience as I watch you that you are doing it, because you're that important to me that when you're in front of me as a personal trainer, nothing else matters. Every move you make, just like when I was an interrogator, every move you make, every breath you take, I'm watching you. That song, that's an interrogator song, let me tell you. Okay, so with knowing this, so let me say that again, because it was so powerful. If I expect my mind, and I am my mind, to deliver to me within 3 days manifestation because I'm using a technique, because the technique is the technique, I'm the operant power. I'm the operant power that decided to use that technique for the unfolding and realization of my manifestation. Again, so powerful, right? Repeat that again. I'm the operant power, and I don't need any technique, but I am choosing a technique to help me bring my conscious mind in to the unfolding and the realization, because the conscious mind wants a job. And if you do an imaginal act and you don't give it a job to look for not the proof, but the evidence of the unfolding, then it will work against you, because it's programmed for something else. And most likely it's not here yet, or where is it, or why hasn't it happened? So they're all legitimate conscious minds, but each question, that the mind that says, where is it, will always, in all of infinity, all of eternity, say, where is it? Because that mind's never satisfied. The mind that says that it hasn't happened yet will look for evidence of it not happening yet. The mind that says it's already here, it's already done, before you even do anything, will start to look for evidence that it's already here and already done. So all I had to do for water fasting was not eat food, the doing of nothing. And if you have a thought that says the doing of nothing is hard, then it's going to be. But to me, the less I have to do, the simpler it gets, right? So all I had to do was not eat food. So I decided to go out for that 1 mile run, and it was floating on air. The next day I thought, well, let me do a 5K. And here's the fun thing that I've done with 5Ks. Whether you walk it or run it, it doesn't matter. If I'm running or walking a 5K, then now I've anchored the energy. That 5K comes in for every 5K I do. Do you get it money-wise? Do you see what we're doing here? Because you can take something you're already doing and then put a story over top of it, because that's all you're ever doing. So you might as well take something illogical. Well, you're logical because you're doing a 5K, and you may, because when we normally do a 5K, maybe we're doing it for a healthy body. We wrote over top of doing a 5K for a healthy body, because you're just doing a 5K. You're just realization of the running or the walking. That's what's happening. You're moving the body for that amount of distance. But when you write on top of it, and you already have in the past, I do a 5K to be healthy. Well, you still can do a 5K to be healthy, but you could also do a 5K to be wealthy. And then there's a 10K. And there's lots more that you can do. Do you see how we think differently here in the Invincible CEO, and why I'm telling you, you want to be in that one-day event on March 16th? And again, don't worry if you can't be there for all 5 sessions. They will be recorded, and you will have them ongoing for however long you want to go into the group and see them there. Okay. So now I'm paying attention to the sensations in my body. I'm paying attention to the echoes that are coming in. And if they do not match what I've chosen, I instantly revise in the now moment. That's not who I am. Now, I'm on day 3 right now of my water fast at 6 p.m. my time today. Officially, it'll be over. Will it go on further? I don't know. I'm not going to answer that right now, but I'm open to the possibility of it, and we'll see how that goes. But if it doesn't, then I've met my requirements. So if I want my mind to bring me manifestations within 3 days, and I'm the boss, I'm the CEO, I'm the chief energetic officer of my life, of my consciousness, have I demonstrated to my invisible team, to my employees, my invisible employees, what it is that I want? Just like I look at this as if and I do have a business and I do have employees, right? And if I'm giving an instruction and I know that all of them have the skill set for what it is that I'm asking them to do, and they come back with other offerings, I wasn't clear. I need to get clear within myself, and then I can speak it to them. And then I say, and this is really powerful because this worked really well with having 5 children, repeat back to me in your own words what I just said to you. And that's another way I give it to myself. Even if I'm talking to a character in my mind that says, come on, you want that piece of chocolate. Okay. Well, if that's being offered in my echo chamber, and I am going to honor it because it keeps coming up, I'm like, okay, let's bring this in, because I'm not going to be afraid of anything. I'm not going to try to run and hide from anything in 3D or in my mind. And I say that, okay, you're offering me chocolate. Let me restate what I'm doing here. I'm water fasting. Do you understand that I'm water fasting, which means no physical food, including chocolate? I don't care if it's hot chocolate, no chocolate, no food. And then in my mind, I'll have that character say back to me, you are only drinking water, and go. Just like I would with an employee in real life if I've given an instruction and I don't get what I've asked for. I'm not clear, or there might be a little wobble in me, and let me anchor in really deep in what it is that I want. So during the 3 days, there's going to be offerings. That's all they are. It's not trying to bring you down. It's not trying to make it hard, especially if you wrote the script ahead of time. It's going to be easy and fun, and you're going to enjoy it, and your mind's going to blow you away. Once I was able to give myself the manifestation of a new me in 3 days, once I chose it consciously and then brought the conscious mind and the subconscious mind in line with each other so that I could reach my manifestation goal, now I can go back in and anchor in a technique that says, when I ask for something, no matter how ridiculous it is, because water fasting can be really ridiculous to people when you share it with them, like, why would you do that? Right? So now, then after I was done my 3-day water fast, I sat with what that felt like. I always call it the 1-2 punch: satisfied and complete. Satisfied and complete. So whenever it's habitual now, I don't even have to think about it. So when I do something and I meet my goal, satisfied and complete, how does that feel in the moment that it's arriving? Because that's what satisfied and complete feels like in doing something for 3 days. And I can feel that energy. Okay, so now if I want something else to manifest within 3 days, so let's say I want an additional $10,000 to show up 3 days. So I look at my jump off point. I acknowledge that I am where I am financially, because how else will I know when 10,000 shows up? Because it should be 10,000 more. I know that it could take the whole 3 days, or it could happen anytime in between. And a lot of times now it happens a lot faster. But at the very least, I know that within 3 days, there's nothing for me to do, because in the moment that I'm asking for it within my mind, I feel what it felt like when I did the 3-day water fast and it was done. And it felt amazing because, and I celebrated my conscious mind and I said, great job. And I celebrated my subconscious mind. I said, great job. And you guys came together and worked as a team because I'm the operant power and I always get what I want plus more. And I wrote down all the wonderful things that I got as a result of giving myself the experience of something that was really, I've never done it before. I never done it one day. And it went into 3 days, it went into 7 days, and it went into 10 days. And I think I do have some postings on Facebook about that back then. So this is why this is so powerful, that in the stopping of something, right? That's when manifestation teachers talk about doing nothing gets you everything. It's the realization that I had even before I decided what my start time was. I knew it was done. How was it going to unfold? I didn't know how, but what I did put in there was that it was going to be fun, that I was going to enjoy it, that I was going to have a lot of energy. And oh, by the way, I think it was on day 5, I was running 6 miles a day. I think I got up as high as 8 miles. I'll check my notes. But because the energy was there, because it wasn't going to digestion, and all the things that you might think about water fasting and long water fasting was not true, at least not for me. I'm telling you my personal experience. It could be torturesome for other people, but I chose ahead of time what it was going to be. I trusted that my subconscious mind already said yes, because it was already done. It was like already on the shelves. You go to the store, it's already on the shelves. All you got to do is take an action and put it in your cart. So I go to the subconscious mind first and I say, this is what I want. And then I wait for the signal, today's the day, because I already have that anchored in. And then while I'm waiting for the today's the day to happen, I bring my conscious mind in and say, help me script how this is going to go, because you're helping me script it. That's what you're going to look for evidence of while we're doing it. I don't want to hear it's not working. I don't want to hear anything to the opposite. And it doesn't mean one of those echoes don't come in. It's okay. If it does, it's not a big deal. So how to do nothing and get everything is take yourself into the experience of it and be aware of the benefits. So whether you decide to water fast, whether you decide to social media fast, whether you decide to phone fast, whether you decide to not drive your car, whatever it is that you decide to do, in the taking away, you're not diminishing yourself. You're actually expanding yourself. You're not denying yourself. You're finding a new version of you. Because here's the best part about food, of doing the water fast. Food no longer controls me because I know I don't need it, and I don't need it for a really long time. So like I said earlier, anything that I add to me adds to me. So now I could rewrite food and say, let's say if you're a person who wants to lose 20 pounds, once you zero yourself out, and I call that 0 point, 3 days of whatever, of water fasting or not eating a certain food, maybe you just want to eliminate one food like coffee. So now if you were to bring that back into your reality, you can rewrite a story like all food has negative calories until I meet my goal weight. Ooh, isn't that amazing? And just imagine what we can do with money. I shared with you what I do with my 5Ks and 3Ks, and you would think I'd be running every single day, right? But because nothing ever causes, whatever action you're doing doesn't cause the outcome. It's just a way for your conscious mind to play along. Because think about this. Could you just sit here for 3 days and do nothing? And if you can, wonderful. I know I can't. I like to be engaged. I'm here to play, but it is an option to just sit there for 3 days. I could have done that. I could have locked myself in my bedroom under my blanket in my bed, just waiting for it to get over. But the thing is that now when I go back into eating, I wasn't just doing that to get a goal and then go back to where I was. I consciously reintegrated food into my life, and I rewrote the script of everything that I ate. And the real fun part for me at the time was there were certain foods that I had an old story that I don't like it. And so I decided every time I water fast, I bring in a new food that had an old story of I don't like it, because 3 days I'm no longer that version. And now this version of me likes it. And the funny part is that watching people around me, I'm watching them see me eat it for the first time. And not one person said, oh, you're eating that now. You never ate that before, because I'm in a reality where they've always known me to eat that thing. So it's no big deal. I'm the last one to the party. That's a fun technique. All right, guys, thank you so much for being here. By taking something away, you can show that you are bigger than it. If it pulls you back in, it owns you. Whatever you think you need, that's just a thought, and all thought is bullshit. Even the worst thoughts and the best thoughts, they're all BS. You're the operant power, and you get to decide what the script is. You get to bring both minds together so that they serve you in achieving your goal. And I can say that this was a 3-day manifestation. This was a 3-day manifestation that I consciously, actively participated by being passive in the mindset of I didn't have to eat anything. So I got that active and passive going. So now I know what it feels like for a 3-day victory of getting something that I wanted plus more. And now I activate that. If I'm going to use 3 days to bring in $10,000, I sit in that energy until I feel it activated. And then while I'm aligning as I'm moving around, I notice that does that energy pop up, because that might be something to look into for that $10,000. And then I expect it. I expect it to be there by or before the end of the 3rd day. Does it sometimes come a little bit into the 4th day? Sometimes. But honestly, I'm not complaining, because I'm excited when it comes in the 1st day. And how wonderful is that? But for more videos of how if it doesn't fully come during that time, if you're interested in learning if you're asked for 10,000 and 8,000 shows up, what should you do? Because you never want to settle for 80% of your 100% asking. So that's a whole other video. If you want to see that, let me know. If this video helped you in any way, please let me know in the comments. I can't recommend enough that you want to be in that 1-day event, because if you got excited about what you learned here, just imagine when we can interact. It's like Zoom. It's not on Zoom. It's in my group, and my group has Zoom-like capabilities where there will be me and 50 others. When I say that it's 50, there's no more than that, because I say what I mean and I mean what I say. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you for just sharing your heart and your journey with me. I appreciate you deeply. Once again, I'm Dede Pavernick, the Invincible CEO, and I want to see you win big, and win all the time. Enjoy.